Hi everyone, I'm Nasiruddin, Associate Professor at Larkin University. So I'll go over the basic pharmacokinetics, some of the basic concepts. So the objective is basically we'll define the basic pharmacokinetics and go over some of the pharmacokinetic parameters such as three important parameters: half-life, volume of distribution, clearance, and area under the curve. And then we'll go over the bioavailability and some of the administration, the pharmacokinetics of the administration, such as like the IV bolus, oral administration, IV infusion. What is actually pharmacokinetics? This is Pharmacokinetics is basically what happened to drug when they are in the body. So when you take drug into the body, what happened to that is actually pharmacokinetics. So there are actually several ways to define pharmacokinetics, such as like pharmacokinetics is about what body does to the drug. On the other hand, what drug do to the body, that is called pharmacodynamics. Also, pharmacokinetics is the study of absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. So these are the different processes. We'll talk about this in a moment. Also, pharmacokinetics is the time course of drug in the body. So as I said, what happened to the drug? So at the different time point, where is the drug? Is the drug is in the blood or is in some other organ? Like it can be in the muscle. If the drug is like fat soluble, it will go to the fat. So that is, everything is in the pharmacokinetics. So pharmacokinetics is the study of relationship between drug and dosage regimen and concentration time profile. So pharmacokinetics study is actually combination of the concept, as I said, like where is the drug, how long drug will be there, then the graph. So you can actually draw the graph. So if you draw a graph, concentration versus the time profile, so you will understand what is happening to the drug, and also the equation. So basically this is the combination of the concept, graph, and the equation. In that way, pharmacokinetics is different from any other subject. So as I said, like the drug absorption. Let's take one example, what happens when we take drug through the mouth with some glass of water. Say we took one tablet. So it will go to the esophagus, then it will go to the stomach. And from the stomach, it will actually go to the intestine. And especially in the lower intestine, the tablet is in the very smaller particle, and this drug then pass through the membrane and go to the blood. Okay, so this is called absorption. In pharmacy, when the drug goes from site of administration to the blood, that is called absorption. In this case, our site of administration is mouth, and then it goes to the blood, that is called absorption. Or if you give a patch in your like body, like here, so drug will eventually go to the blood. So from the skin, it will pass through the skin layer and go to the blood. So that is also absorption. Okay. So absorption, like it can happen in two ways. So administration can be actually two ways. One is extravascular, and one is intravascular. Intravascular means when you give the drug directly to the blood vessel, like the injection. Okay. And extravascular, anything other than the blood, like the oral or the skin or the buccal or even the rectal, everything is extravascular. So for the extravascular, there is absorption phase. It will go from the site of administration to the blood. But intravascular, there is no absorption phase. Then the second process is the distribution. So as I said, when drug goes to the blood, then actually from the blood it goes to the some other organ or like site of action, like the patient has some cell, so the drug has to go to the cell, and then it will like the disease cell or like cancer cell, so it has to go to the cancer cell and it will act on the receptor. So or sometimes it goes to the organ, like for the liver, for the lung, or like the kidney, wherever the drug is designed for, it will go there. So now the drug goes from the blood to the different organ, that is called distribution. And when we take drug extravascularly or like from the oral or any other route, it goes to the blood, which is absorption, and from the blood it goes to the actual liver first. And in the liver there is actually a lot of enzyme. They can chemically modify the drug depending on the nature of the drug. They can actually modify the drug, and this is called metabolism. So the drug goes to the liver and it becomes metabolized. So when it metabolized, this is not chemically same as it was before. That means we may lose some of the drug if it is metabolized. So this is called metabolism. So there are two phases in metabolism. One is called like the phase 1 reaction. So this is basically the oxidation, reduction, and hydrolysis. And another one is phase 2 reaction. So phase 1 is followed by the phase 2 reaction, which is basically the conjugation. So excretion is basically for the drug to get out from the system or from the body. So it is an irreversible process, and excretion occurs through the kidney, like the urine, or in the liver as a bile, or like gut as a feces, or like lungs, like the exhausted air. Okay. So these all are the 4 processes combinedly also called pharmacokinetics: ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Now we'll move to like zero order and first order kinetics. So when the drug is in the body and it is actually come out, elimination or excretion, that follows some order. So in first order kinetics, the elimination rate depends on the concentration of the drug. So higher the concentration and rate is high. As long as the concentration goes down, the rate also goes down. On the other hand, in zero order kinetics, it doesn't matter the concentration, the same amount of the drug will eliminate each time. Okay, so here is a nice example. So if you look, the zero order amount of drug was 2000, 1700, 1400, and 1100, but per percent removed in the previous hour is 0.15, 0.17, 0.21. If you look at in the zero order, it is same amount, like 300 milligram in every hour, this is eliminating. But in the first order, in the first hour is 400, second hour is 320, third hour is 256. That means as long as the concentration is decreasing, the rate is also decreasing. So now I'll talk about 3 most important parameters of the pharmacokinetics, and these are elimination half-life, volume of distribution, and clearance. So half-life means drug will take to get out of the body half of the initial dose. I give you one simple example. Like you give a patient like 10 milligram of the drug, okay? So how long it will take half of the 10, which is like 5 milligram, to get out of the system. So that is the half-life. So basically half-life will tell you how long it will take to total drug to get out of the system. One thing remember, if I say like how long it will take for the 10 milligram, it's not actually 2 half-life. So in the first half-life, half of the 10, which is like 5 milligram, will get out. In the second half-life, half of the rest 5, that means 2.5 milligram. So once 5 milligram is out from the 10, you have only 5 milligram. And second half-life, half of that 5 milligram, which is 2.5 milligram, will come out. And in the third half-life, half of that 2.5 milligram, which is 1.25 milligram, will come out. Okay. So there are some equation, very common equation, like K equal to ln C1 divided by C2 divided by dt. So from this equation, you can actually calculate the half-life. Another important parameters in pharmacokinetics is volume of distribution. So volume of distribution, as I said, the drug can be distributed to some other organ. So now the question is different types of drug, whether the drug is in the blood or is in some other places. Okay. So the volume of distribution can tell that information. So by definition, the volume of distribution can be defined as a proportionality constant that links the amount of drug in the body to the measured plasma concentration. The equation is volume of distribution equal to dose over Cp. So if you take the initial dose divided by the Cp, which is your concentration in the plasma or in the blood, so you can calculate the volume of distribution. Okay, so now why this is so important? Because let's consider two drugs. One drug is drug A. This drug stays only in the, and let's think like we took like 10 milligram of each one, okay? So this drug stays only in the blood. So when you take the blood and you found that 10 milligram per liter, so we took like 10 milligram per liter, is in the blood. But the second drug, which is drug B, we took and we found that only 2 milligram per liter in the blood. So where is the other drug? So other drug, second drug, probably they like the fat. They are fat soluble drug. So what happened? They actually dissolve in the fat. They prefer to stay in the fat. So 8 milligram out of 10 milligram per liter is in the fat. So now you have the Cp for the B is less. So if you do the if you do the volume of distribution calculation, you will see the high volume of distribution for the fat loving drug because it shows like there some other place. So volume of distribution is not a fixed number. It is actually calculative volume, okay? That's why we call like apparent volume of distribution. And from this calculation, sometimes it can be even more than your body volume. Then we have the clearance. This is another important parameters for the pharmacokinetics. So clearance is important because it determines the maintenance dose and the steady state concentration, okay? So how much dose you have to put to maintain the dose to drug to be effective, that is determined by the clearance. So clearance, by definition, clearance is the volume of blood plasma cleared per unit of time. Let's give you one example. Clearance happens in kidney. So think like kidney is a filter machine, okay? And in our body, the blood is moving, continuously circulating. So what kidney does, it will take some amount, some volume of the blood, and it will filter that blood, and it will clear the blood from the drug. So it will clear all the drug from the blood, and then it will take the next volume, okay? So that is the clearance. So clearance is the volume and per time. Like the kidney, in 1 hour, how many volume it is clearing the drug from the blood. That is the clearance. So that's why when the word comes, the clearance, you must remember this is about the volume, okay? How much volume the kidney is clearing the drug per unit of time. So that's why clearance is equal to V over time. That means volume per time. Next, we'll talk about the creatinine clearance, okay? So creatinine is actually a nitrogenous organic acid that occurs naturally in the human or animal. And kidney actually maintain the blood creatinine level in normal. So this is kind of like the standard or indicator because your muscle will continuously producing and it is getting out through the kidney. Now, if any patient has like the kidney failure or kidney is not functioning good, what will happen? It cannot clear the creatinine in normal way. It is actually less functional, so it will clear less amount of the creatinine. That means more amount of the creatinine will be found in the blood. So from the creatinine concentration in the blood, you can actually tell the kidney is functional or